Do you have an ugly dishwasher, but you're not ready to replace it yet? Same for us. We have this beautiful new remodeled kitchen and this. Our goal is to make this dishwasher disappear. So join us as we paint our dishwasher to match our kitchen cabinets. Hello, Matt here. I'm taking over Rachel's channel today for a surprise project. She has been loving her brand new kitchen. I love to see how her face lights up every time she walks inside this newly remodeled room. But like any remodel project, there's a few things on the punch list we're still wanting to get done. And one of those is disguising this dishwasher. We thought through some of the different options we had to disguise it, and we decided the best thing would simply be to paint it to match the cabinets. Since I have a painting company, I wanted to tackle this project, and I'd like to bring you along for the process. I'll explain what I'm doing and why, in case you want to do this in your own home. When we're done, we'll bring Rachel in and see her reaction to her new dishwasher. Now, one of the biggest challenges for painting something like a dishwasher is going to be getting the paint to stick. The surface is very slick, and so paint is going to have a tendency to peel off. So let me go over the supplies we're going to use to get the best results possible. For starters, we're going to clean the dishwasher just to get any grease or anything off of it that might interfere with the paint sticking. I'll just use some simple dish soap and a wet rag. Then we'll sand it just to rough up the surface a little bit. That'll give the new paint something better to stick to than a completely smooth surface. We will use some paper and tape to mask off the area before we paint it. I also have some goof off here. There's some stickers on the dishwasher that have to be removed, and I have the feeling that they're going to leave some residue, and so we'll get that off with that. I have a paint tray, I have a mini roller, and then we also have a roller cover. This is a mohair cover. It's good for getting a smooth finish on smooth surfaces rather than leaving the stippling or the texture behind that you often see with a roller. I want to get the best finish and the best look we possibly can on this dishwasher without breaking out my big paint sprayer just to paint this one little thing. Next, we have a little bit of a secret weapon. This is our primer that we're going to be using. I got it in a spray can so that it would be easy to apply to the dishwasher. This is white pigmented shellac. It's very sticky and it will go on just about any surface. It's going to be the best thing I know to put on a dishwasher and get it the best chance to stick. Now, the only downside to the shellac is it is really stinky. So make sure you open a window, turn on a fan, whatever you have to do before you put it on so that you don't fume yourself out of the house. Finally, of course, we're going to need the paint. Now, this is the same paint that we put on our cabinetry. It's Pro Classic by Sherwin-Williams. It's a cabinet enamel. I think that's going to be a good choice for the dishwasher too, for a couple of reasons. Cabinet enamel is made to be extra durable, and so it's going to stand up better to wear and tear. Obviously, we'll be opening and closing the door to the dishwasher quite a bit, and so it'll be good to have the extra durable paint. The other thing, it's made to lay smooth, and so even if there's a little bit of stippling left over from the roller, as it dries, it should smooth out, and that'll make the finished product look even better. Now that we have all of our supplies together, let's get started. Now, before I get started, I'm going to remove the bottom piece from the dishwasher because I want to paint that separately. Yeah, it definitely needs to be cleaned. Next up, we're going to sand the dishwasher. I'm going to sand the front and the two sides because that's what we're painting. We're not going to do the top because this one has the control panel on the top, and it's made to be slightly recessed, so you don't really see much of the control panel when it's closed. As you can see, I'm using a swirl pattern to make sure that we really scuff up the entire surface. I'm also using 150 grit sandpaper. I thought that would be rough enough where we'd get a good surface to grip to, but not so rough that it would actually leave gouge marks on the surface. Now your finished product should look a little bit like this. We'll give it another wipe down to remove the dust, and we'll be ready for the next step. Okay, we're committed now. The dishwasher is all scratched up, so we need to do something with it. Let's get some paint on it. Since I'm going to use a spray for the primer, I'm going to cover up an area around the dishwasher to protect it from overspray. Now I'm also going to put tape to cover up the control panel so that we don't get paint on any of the buttons. Now I should note, I put some tape along the inside edge of the door as well, just in case a little bit of the spray were to get in between the crack. Now it's time to start with the primer. The trick to this is to put on several thin coats instead of trying to put on one heavy coat, because you'll likely get sags. Using the multiple thin coats will get you a smoother finish. Now for the second coat, I'm going to go the opposite direction. I started going top to bottom. This time I'm going to go side to side. Now one of the big benefits to using shellac primer is that it dries really quickly. You can usually recoat it within 15 minutes. Now I did get a couple of runs on the front of the dishwasher, and so I'm going to use this sanding block. It's a 320 grit block. I'm going to go over the runs with it to smooth them back out. It's a pretty smooth paper, and so it shouldn't take off too much of the primer with it. Now I like how much smoother the door felt after I ran the sandpaper over that area, and so I went ahead and just sanded the entire door. Now you may notice that the primer does not completely cover up the black. That's okay. We're not using the primer to cover up the color. We've got a good solid couple of coats on there. The main thing is the primer is just there to stick to the surface. Alright, now it's the moment we've all been waiting for. We're ready to put our first coat of paint on the dishwasher. Just like with the primer, we want to use thin, multiple coats rather than trying to go heavy and cover everything in just one coat. Let's get started. Now there's actually a funny story about this paint. So the color we chose for our cabinets is a nice sage green, but when it goes on and it's still wet, it looks like lizard. And so when I started painting the cabinetry, Rachel walked in and saw that really bright glowing green color on the cabinets, and she got a little nervous and a little worried, but we just let it dry and it looked great. I'm going to use a small brush to get inside these harder to reach places. Now, one of the good things about cabinet paint is that it takes a little bit longer to dry than normal paint, and so that gives time for any little brush marks or things in the paint to even out. You get a smoother finish. The other benefit is you get to take a little break between coats. Now that the first coat is dry, we can start putting on the second. And that's how you paint a dishwasher really fast. Now that the second coat's dry, let's take off the paper and see what it looks like.
What are you doing?
Oh, just hanging out in the kitchen.
The dishwasher disappeared. That looks amazing. How did you do that?
Well, I made a video. You'll just have to watch it.
Okay, sounds good. Friends, we offer this idea for disguising your dishwasher. If you happen to have one that works well and there's no reason to replace it, our dishwasher not only works really well, but it's very quiet and very quick. The depth of our countertops made it impossible for us to add a panel to the front, which is an option you could consider. So instead, we decided to paint. I am very pleased with how this project turned out and very grateful to Matt for taking over my channel and working on a project to surprise me. I just love it and love our newly remodeled English country kitchen even more.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you got some inspiration for your kitchen. I know this video was a little different than what's typically on the Stone Cottage Home channel, so let us know if you enjoyed it, if you'd like to see Rachel getting surprised. I think for now, I'll turn the channel back over to Rachel, and until next time, take care. This is a test. This is only a test. If this were a real emergency, instructions would follow.